Hi, greetings everyone, and welcome to another exciting show of the Sea Hunters. And today, I know every time we have a show, we bring you the best in terms of the guests that we select. But we have an extra special guest today. And this individual just happens to be one of my high school teachers. And it's the first official female guest on the show. So everyone, please welcome the Director of Community Development, Ms. Maloney. Ms. Maloney, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Randy, and it's a pleasure to be on your show. Seems like it's going to be an exciting one based on the introduction that you have just given.
Wonderful. So the guest is excited based on the introduction alone. Now, Ms. Maloney, please tell our viewers about some of the activities that your department has been involved in terms of community development.
Yes, community development has tried to work with the community in various aspects, and we have introduced some programs such as the Jessups Seafood Fiesta, the Bangor Breadfruit Festival, and the Pond Hill Breadnut Affair. Of course, we are working in collaboration with the management teams in these respective areas.
Right. So, that's a whole long list of activities. I know you're also involved in the Christmas celebrations as well. But for the purposes of this particular show, let's focus a little bit on the Jessups Seafood, is it Seafood Fiesta or Festival? Okay, it's the Seafood Fiesta. Tell us how this initiative came about and how long it has been running and the partners that you've had over the years.
The Jessup Seafood Fiesta was introduced in 2015 in collaboration with the Jessup management team. What we have tried to do is to work with management team within the community. They're supposed to be part of community development because community development is not a top-down approach, it's a bottom-up approach. So decision making is supposed to involve the wider community, not just government, not just the department. So in establishing management council, which is a mandate for community development, we would have come across an exciting group, the Jessup management team. And we know from creation, from since I was born, I know Jessup as a fishing village. So we encourage the management team to capitalize on that and to have a seafood fiesta as it was seen as a cultural element because the Jessup is, like I said, is a fishing, one of the major fishing village on the island.
I'm glad that you touch on that point of culture because there are some individuals, and you know exactly who I'm talking about, who believes that the Navisian culture is limited to things like string band and masquerade. No, that is not true. Fishing is a cultural activity, and the atmosphere that is created around seafood is also a critical part of our culture and, of course, food security. Now, you mentioned a lot about the Jessups and the community involvement. I would like to commend you, first of all, for taking this step in uplifting the community and utilizing the culture of the people to do it. Yes. This is very, very innovative, and I salute you. See, officially, that is a Sea Hunters salute for our wonderful guest here who has been doing some lovely work in the community. Now, in terms of the types of dishes that persons would normally look forward to, could you give us an idea of some, special dishes that are created at this festival for someone to look forward to and ask for?
Yes, and before I go there, Randy, I remember you asked me like the persons that we partner with. Mm-hmm. Yes, and I'm glad that you mentioned that culture is not limited to performing arts. It's also food is a part of our culture. So roast pot and potato, that's a cultural dish in my humble opinion. There are many persons in the community that partner with the Jessup management team and by extension the department, Four Seasons. Almost all the fishermen in St. Thomas's Parish just contribute fish and they give it freely. They give some free too because they like the idea of the seafood fiesta. And we had persons around the island who would also bring their dish, like Miss Isaac. I think I mentioned Four Seasons. You have Farrell gas station there, and many others, especially in the community that partner with them. We have dishes such as Congo eel. It's exciting to know that person go way back to those days when Congo eel was something that we look forward to. Well, sometimes there was nothing else, so we were happy to have our fried Congo. So that is one of the things that you find at the seafood fair, a fried Congo. I don't know if I should mention this, but if the turtle is caught, when it's in well, I think there's a season where you could catch a turtle, then it's fine. So they freeze it, they have turtle soup. And you know that people say it's good for the strengthening of the back. And that is also part of our culture, that we were of the opinion that turtle soup is something that helps to strengthen. We have sprat. Sometimes we have fried, sometimes we have roast. But we have provision and mackerel. We have red herring. We have lots of fried fish, especially the fried gar. Because growing up in Jessups Village, fried gar was a Saturday thing sometimes. Sometimes during the week too, fried jar and roast Johnny cake. So we don't have fried gar and Johnny cake. We have pasta, shrimp pasta, lobster pasta. We have fish soup. We have fish on the grill, grilled fish with some kind of provision in it. Might be Irish potato. And let me see, I mentioned conch, chowder, conch soup, and those are some of the dishes that you will find at the but a lot of fried fish, lots of fried fish, and you have cornmeal and steamed fish too, steamed fish along with your cornmeal and provision. So we have saltfish cake because, you know, once anything fish and saltfish balls, and those are some of the dishes that you will find at the Jessup Seafood Fiesta.
My mouth watering already, you know. My mouth watering already. So, since you are already watering my mouth, please tell us when I will be able to enjoy the seafood fiesta. Tell all of us, as in the audience, when we could come out and have some of this wonderful food at Jessup's.
Oh boy, Randy. It's months away. It's normally celebrated the first Monday in May, and so you will have to wait until May to come and get your seafood. But I think Tamara Farrell, who is the chairperson or the president for the management team, she said she was talking one time about having fish fries at other odd times during the year to raise funds. So that is something that we will encourage them to explore, having fish fries, so that you can also come and have something fish like during the year with your nice Johnny cake.
So, my appetite, I have to put it up for a whole year now. Unless they do some of the fish fries, so I could have a little taste of what is to come at the fish festival. So, Ms. Maloney, I know it's your first time on the show. Please, just tell us how you feel being the first female guest here to talk about some of the initiatives that you have spearheaded to uplift fishers in particular in the community.
It's a proud moment. It's wonderful. I am happy to be here to help or uplift the fishermen. I think they play a very important role in the community. They feed us, and they feed us healthy food. And just to know, when I look back at the work that it entails to go out there early in the morning, because sometimes when going up, sometimes it's the fishermen rumbling and the grumbling when they're getting up and they're walking to go down to the beach. That's the sound that you heard, and you know, okay, it's morning, because sometimes they're up before the rest of the community to go out in that cold water, and it's risky out there at times to feed us this healthy food. So of course, I say kudos to all the fishermen on the island who make it a living to feed us and keep us healthy.
No. I like that you said that early in the morning there would be grumbling, as you call it, on the way down the road. And this is how persons in the community knew that it is daybreak. It's time to start the day. You said that there are many partners that have given you support. Now, please use the opportunity to express gratitude or even encourage other persons to come on board and support the various initiatives that uplift the community and the people therein.
I just want to thank you, all the persons who come on board every year to support the seafood fiesta, and the persons that the participant or the persons who come and buy their food. You know, you expect certain people every year, and they come expecting somebody might say, I hope you have my Congo. And I didn't mention shellfish on the grill too, Randy. You have lots of shellfish on the grill and stuff like that. And persons come specifically for something that they like every year. Thank you all. I don't want to start calling names because I'm even of the fishermen who support by giving fish, because I'm afraid I might leave out somebody's name. So I just want to say a heartfelt thank you to everybody who supported the seafood fish fiesta this year. It was wonderful. Lots of food, lots of fried fish. I had my belly full of fish, of course. I like fried fish and Johnny cake. And thank you. Oh, and coconut rice. Randy, I'm talking as I go on, those little things that I remember as I speak. Coconut rice, you know, I don't know if you go up in the day when the coconut rice was in, let me use the term, was in store. And sometimes that when no butter was around, because you didn't have money to buy butter, you use the coconut milk to flavor the food and to give it a little grease, you know. And so we just have coconut rice at the seafood. Like I said, it's a cultural thing, food that you don't find at the seafood fiesta. Thanks to everyone, and we look forward to your continued support throughout the years, and I'm hoping by next year and beyond that the seafood fiesta could be even bigger and better, to satisfy the needs of our wonderful customers and also to please those who would have supported over the years. Thank you.
No. This talk about food seems like it would continue for about 5 or 6 different episodes, you know. But we're going to try our best to keep the food thing to a minimal. All those people who are already whetting their appetite, you're going to have to wait until May. All right? Wait until May. And I'm hoping that I'll be able to bring sea hunters to the next seafood fiesta at Jessups, so that we could all see the wonderful dishes that are prepared there. But we cannot mention all of these talks about food without mentioning the people who prepare the food. And I was told that Chef Evelyn is like an expert in the preparation of seafood.
Yes, Chef Evelyn is an expert in the preparation of seafood, but the role that he plays, we normally have a seafood competition. Yes, that is sponsored by the Ministry of Tourism. And so he will come up with the criteria, he will come and be the judge, and he plays a major role in, you know, in how we govern or how it is coordinated, the seafood competition. And the persons who would have participated come up with some very unique dishes made from fish. And of course, Mr. Henville play a role in that. And I guess he partake in the food that is there as well.
Now, we had a mouthful. We had almost a bellyful. We have to wait until May for the bellyful part. Now, Ms. Maloney, any parting words for our guest?
I once again want to thank you, and what I would like for the Nivijan community to is show some support and show some appreciation for the fishermen that we have among us. You know, growing up, when persons were asked, what would you like to be when you grow up? You hear doctor and lawyer and this and that. But the fishermen, I think they play. I'm so happy that things are changing, mindsets have changed, and the way we look at fishermen and farmers have changed over the years. We now are showing more appreciation for them because we realize that they play a major role in our food security. So thank you to all the fishermen. Continue to do a great job, and we appreciate you. And I would also want to tell persons who would have attended the seafood fiesta and would have supported it, thanks again, and we look forward to your continued support. To you, Randy, I think that you are doing a great job in uplifting the fishermen on this island, and I think this show would, give people more insight as to the work they do, and also who also work along with them in some regards. So to you and your team, I just want to say kudos and keep up the good work. God bless you all.
I thank you very much. Very encouraging words. And ladies and gentlemen, this is the point that the show was created. We need to make more awareness of the significant role that certain individuals play in our community. We may think that their contribution is insignificant, but when it comes to food, we could have 1,000 lawyers, 1,000 doctors, 1,000 politicians with billions of dollars sitting down, but if they don't have food, they will all die. So we really need to change our perspective on the way we look at the individuals who provide us with the food we eat in order to live. I would like to say thank you for joining us, and as always, we'll catch you next time on Sea Hunters.
Randy, I grew up in Jessups Village, you know. I am no stranger to fishing and fishermen. As a little girl, we used to go down by the beach, and we used to help to pull up the boat. And we used to be rewarded with some fish to go home with. Sometimes that was the only meat kind that you had for the day, because there was no money to buy chicken or mutton or any sort. So we ate a lot of fish. I pull seine. I know what it is to pull the seine, pull in the seine and get some balloho out of the seine to go out with. Sometimes even a head drag might have come up in the seine, and you get the head drag to go home with, and you find a way to. And we used to have this little thing called scuttle. So on Saturdays, me and some of my friends, when we come from the beach, I remember we come home and we decide we're gonna cook our own food, and somebody go and take a little butter from somewhere. Somebody get some rice. Maybe it might have been stealing them, because stealing our parents' rice and butter and salt and onion, and some of us might have gotten a liquor or tofu trying to cook our own pot. And we used to get some oil and fry our own fish, and so we had our own fish fry and with little rice and stuff like that. So I know what it is to go up centered around fish. There were so many fish in those days. And you know what was strange? We used to look down on eating fish, because they used to think that fish were poor people food, because a lot of time the villagers come down by the beach and they beg fish. And sometimes when you have fish and breadfruit, because on your way up from the beach you used to pick a breadfruit around the area there by Samuel Paris, and breadfruit and fish was your dinner for the night. And talk about sprat, and talk about we used to have those little things that we used to boil and eat. I forget the name of the cockle. right? Sometimes that was helpful for you to get a meal. So I like the idea of the fishermen, them getting some promotion and some more insight and some kudos and whatever else is there for them, because I think that they are worth it.
So you spoke extensively about growing up as a little girl in Jessups and the role that fishers played in your life in terms of your food security. Now, I heard about something called polo. It is the first time I heard about this word, and it's a particular dish. Now, I don't know how many other persons out there would know about polo, but Miss Maloney is going to explain it to those who do not. So please, tell us about this dish.
Polo was like poor people food. It's like a mix-up dish. Those days, you got a little bit of rice. It was not enough to cook a whole pot. And then you might have a little flour. Was not enough to make enough dumpling. So what you do, and then you might have some vegetable in your garden, like maybe some peas or piece of pumpkin. So you mix up everything. And then you take the flour and you make something called jappers. And when the rice is almost boiling, you put in the jappers with everything else and the pumpkin, and so it look like a soupy rice, jappers, everybody mix up, you call it polo. And then for the meat was fish. And then when you finish with that now, you put your fish on top and let the fish boil in on top of the polo. And that's what we used to eat sometime. One day I remember, even before, when sometimes you go down the beach, you may not have had much breakfast or lunch. And even before you reach home, the fishermen themselves come and roast some fish on the beach. And no salt used to there, so they used to say dip it in the water. So when we done get we roast fish, we put it on the grapevine or the grape leaf. And we go down in the water and we dip it in to soak it so you could get a little saltiness. And we come back up and we roast fish and we go home with a belly full. So, and the fishermen were very generous, even if for persons who, because then a pound of fish was $2.50. And for persons who could have afforded, even if you're buying 2 pounds of fish, you might end up with 3 because they give you very extra. And going to the village, coming up with a bucket and sand, they might give a fish or two to some hungry person, or some person who just wanted something to add to the little breadfruit or piece of sweet potato or something. So yes, fish played a major role in fishing in my growing up days.
This might have been the first time that we've had not just a guest on the show speak about fish, but so passionately on the topic of how important it is for food security. I know that times have changed. We all know that times have changed, but food remains the most critical part of our life, because without it, we don't have life. So even though persons would have elevated themselves in terms of the standard of living, food remains food. And as such, we must appreciate the individuals who risk their lives, because that is what fishers do. They risk their life so that we can have food to eat.